and we should be live on the third episode, boys. How are we all doing?
Woo, fantastic.
Yeah, we're doing good, Barnes?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
we're chilling.
Yeah, great start. Well, I wanted to say before we get into it, this will mainly be about politics, I hope at least. And I'm going to pass most of it over to Ethan because he's got the know-how. He's been doing a little bit of research on what's
Yay.
happening and what the fuck's been happening in the news recently.
Yeah, despite not being the one here with the politics degree.
True, Barnes.
Swaffle.
Too lazy.
They both begin with P, it's fine.
Yeah.
But normally we have like a succinct topic, but because we've had quite an interesting week, we figured we'd exploit Dan not being here, who's not the most politically inclined person, and do something current affairs related.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
just as a brief overview, I've got my notes. We've had quite a few things happen. We've had the big one, Sturgeon. So, Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has decided she's had enough. And she's decided she's going to bin off the job. And she said it's got nothing to do with politics in Scotland. So we'll
Going on the
discuss
dole.
that.
Yep.
The BBC office in India was raided by officials, tax officials, which is interesting. And another one, not quite as big politically, but still current affairs. YouTube CEO Susan, I'm not going to try and pronounce her last name.
Watches the source.
Yeah, has stepped down.
Wojcik.
That might be right, I don't know.
That could be really bad.
But she's been replaced by Neil Mohan, who is much easier to pronounce.
True.
So, and then there's obviously all the balloons getting shot down over
America,
China, and
yeah.
America.
And you've got Turkey and Syria.
All the earthquakes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot
Can't
going
forget
on
the big
recently.
one.
Yeah, it's been absolutely ridiculous. Ethan, do you want to go into the first topic of Sturgeon?
Yeah, we can do Sturgeon first. So, in essence, she's been in the job 9 years. She's been through hell and back, pretty much. And she's said, as I said before, it's got nothing to do with politics in Scotland. And in essence, what do you guys think of that? Do you think that is right? Do you think she's just decided that she's had enough? It's got no political pressure behind it whatsoever. Nothing to do with the cost of living crisis. Nothing to do with the second referendum. She's just had enough. What do you think?
Nah.
Yeah, nah.
No, I'm sure like it probably was a factor, and obviously we can't speak on her behalf, but like there'll be a reason why it's timed now. I think we've got an election coming up in a year or two. Be a huge one for S&P. Could really dictate the future of Scotland completely. Yep. We've had the gender bill malarkey getting blocked. We've had the Supreme Court say, they can't do the second election. Multiple things going on. And I mean, I guess she's probably sat down with all the top bods in the S&P party and said, okay, look, I'm probably in the way of where the party wants to go. Or she probably feels that by keeping herself as First Minister would hamper what she sees as the goals for Scotland and the S&P party. But it could be very personal as well. She has been in the job for 9 years, very stressful job. So, could be anything, but there'll definitely be factors playing into it 100%.
Yeah, I feel like I read somewhere that it was like at a funeral where it was like that was like the tipped her over the edge point.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably like you're saying, Barnes, an amalgamation of that and the fact that her head's probably just not in it anymore. Like when I don't know, she said she's gone to this funeral, maybe she's not in a good place mentally. And when you're the First Minister of Scotland, you kind of got to be there. Like you've kind of got to have your head with it and you've got to want to do it. And I think she probably is just, like you said, just like, nah, I had enough sort of thing for now.
It's very uncommon for politicians in the United Kingdom at the minute to step down on their own volition, not to get ousted or kicked out or forced out, pressured out, anything like that. So she's left with her dignity intact, I think. Quick little funny aside. So obviously her name, there's a fish pun in there, Nicola Sturgeon. previous First Minister was Alex Salmon,
Hmm.
another fish-related name, and one of the contenders for the next
It's gonna suck.
First Minister
This
of
is gonna
Sturgeon
suck.
is a Mr. Fraser Cod. So he could have three fish-related First Ministers of Scotland.
What an incredible fact
That's
that
the most
was.
Scottish. That's the most Scottish thing I've heard ever. I feel.
Oh god, the fish ministers.
Oh, they don't even eat that much fish and chips up there, don't they?
Don't know about that.
I think they fish a lot up there, don't they? I'm not sure about fish and chips,
Nah,
but
they
I
have
don't know.
all the fish farms in Scotland.
yeah.
That
Like
might be why.
Yeah.
Quick. So just going over the things that she's currently dealing with.
Mhm.
So currently, there's an investigation into her husband for an alleged rule-breaking loan to the SNP. Now, that obviously doesn't look very good. There's obviously the second referendum. We spoke about that. She's quite divisive now. Cost of living crisis, which is more of a universal UK issue, but she does have to deal with it still. Another big one is that she agreed with the decision publicly to send a trans woman to a male prison. But
Mm.
she said on the topic, so she was getting grilled by an interviewer. An
Mm.
interviewer asked, "So there are contexts where a trans woman is not a woman then?" And Sturgeon said, "No, there's circumstances where trans women need to be housed differently than women." And the interviewer said, "So they're not equal then?"
Right.
So she was getting rinsed a bit for her position there, which seems to sit in stark contrast with this whole gender recognition bill thing that was going on. Now, in my opinion, this bill is a pretty lovely example of why England seems to be doing nothing but intentionally antagonising the Scots as much as possible.
Mm.
Every single time there's any diplomatic relationship issue or solution or conflict, we always seem to hit the nuclear option and not take take no prisoners, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Well, I think that's completely right.
Mm.
well,
Let's
if you
be
think
honest.
why,
Let's be honest. The bill was a load of crap.
Could
To
you
start.
clarify the bill quickly?
I can do it if you want.
Yeah. Even
Yeah. So
give a
we've got
brief overview.
so effectively what the bill did is in 2004 the first Gender Recognition Act came in, and in essence it said that to be legally recognised as a woman you have to have something called a gender recognition certificate, going from man to woman,
Mm.
and or the other way around, and that was the status quo. And to get that gender recognition certificate, you had to be over the age of 18 and to have a diagnosis of gender dysphoria from a registered practitioner. The change got rid of the need to be diagnosed with that dysphoria and reduced the age to 16. Now, the conflict arises here with the state of Scottish ministerial power and a thing called, Tom might be better at clarifying this, a thing called devolution.
Yeah.
So there's two types of power which the Scottish Parliament can have. They can have dissolved power over an issue or reserved power over an issue. And that
Mm.
means that on a reserved matter, they can't do anything because it's a matter of, for example, national security. They can't make foreign policy decisions. They can't declare war on Russia or something without England's permission. And dissolved powers are things they can do on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument is whether or not it sits into one of those categories. And both sides are arguing it fits into the other one pretty much.
Well, I think to expand on that, I think if my memory serves me correctly, that is, the bill does fall under devolved powers.
Yeah,
Scotland has
it does.
its right to make that bill, but the issue and the reason why the UK government has blocked the bill going forward is of concerns that it will negatively affect like legislation across the English border, the Welsh border, Northern Ireland border. It would create a uneven or what's the word, like manipulatable situation across the UK
Yeah,
would harm the union as a whole.
yeah, that's pretty much bang on the nail.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they've given. There's two other big ones, which is it contradicts with one of their reserved powers, which is equality. Now, equality is a reserved power, but gender recognition is a dissolved power. So that's where the conflict is, because the government has said that because in the 2010s Equality Act it references the 2004 Gender Recognition Act, and they're changing the second act, it impacts the first one. Which I'm not a lawyer, so that'll probably get sorted out in court. But the other thing they said, which is more interesting, is that it violates women's rights to be in a single-sex group, which violates the Equalities Act. Now, this is actually complete bollocks because it's already within groups' legal authority to deny people with a GRC, a gender recognition certificate, from entering their group if they decide it's all women or all men. They are still within their rights to do that currently. So that's just complete bollocks, what the UK government said there. So you can see how this is divisive, especially considering this is the first time any Scottish bill has ever been blocked under Section 32 like this. So I want to pick up on what you said, Tom, where you think it's a good thing that we had used this prerogative in this manner, not specifically on this bill in general, or not specifically on this bill, sorry, but more so in general, that the English government is taking
Right.
a more
Well,
aggressive
well,
position.
first, don't call it the English government. Call it the UK government. None of that. It's not the English government. It's the UK government. All right. No matter how much the Scots, the Welsh, even the English and the Irish like to say it, we do have one overall government. It's not the English government. And I can understand, it must hurt, from the Scottish perspective. They've tried to pass this law, which is completely fine, and the government's just gone, yeah, nah. I can understand their frustration, but it's a mechanism that's been in place. There's a reason it's in place. It was set up like that when Blair introduced devolution. What's wrong with the UK government using it? It's fully within their right.
Well, a devil's advocate would say this bill's been in preparation for 5 years. So at any point they could have chipped in, but they waited till the last minute. And there's also another part of the Scotland Act, which is much less nuclear, Section 35, which basically lets it go through the Supreme Court instead, and the Supreme Court decides. So they could have taken that option, which is still,
that probably would be a more appropriate way to handle it. Obviously, the UK government has used this as like a way to antagonise, the SNP party. It's definitely got like more political connotations than meet the eye.
It's not really about the bill itself.
I hadn't thought of
Is
it
that what
like
you're
that,
trying to
actually.
do?
Yeah, there will be other reasons. I mean, I guess like I am biased. Admittedly, I am biased because I don't support the bill at all. I think it's rubbish, but
I'm more interested in
it's
the
a
bill.
sticky one.
So what is the bill exactly saying? Is it to do with 16-year-olds have the ability to choose their own gender? Is that what it's getting at?
It's in effect that, but and it also removes the requirement for a physician to be involved, so you can self-diagnose almost, and then also lowers the age to 16. Although I think it's purely a legal
It's not
matter.
It's not like a medical matter.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, okay, on your birth certificate, for example, it would change your gender. So
yeah,
it's not like anything that it's not like a direct change in people's physiology or anything's being affected.
is that still 18 then in Scotland? I'm guessing.
yeah, until I suppose this bill goes through the courts, it's going to be 18.
Okay.
Um, which it raises the point again where this issue seems pretty like harmless. I know you said you don't agree with it, Tom, but the fact that it's purely legal in this sense is like it's
How's that?
pure.
How is it in any way harmless? You know, you're giving 16-year-olds, and you have to. I haven't looked at it in a while. How long is it? Is it 6 months? It takes now with this new bill, if it goes through,
Yeah, they lowered
to
it, didn't they?
to change like legally, just put like completely through at 16.
I'm not entirely
Mm.
sure on the exact.
They're like it. I think I should have done some preparation on this, to be fair, but
Did mention.
um, you know, one at 16. You know, you're still very young.
You're not mentally
You're not
grown.
fully
You've got
there.
plenty more
Yeah,
growth to
like
be had, right?
it's a huge decision. Uh, whether you like it or not, like it is a huge decision to change gender, and obviously everyone's fully within their right to do so. And if you truly do feel like you want to change gender, be my guest. But there's no reason for it to be this streamlined, short process that you can do at 16. I think that's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
Do you
take
think
a bit
that's
of
why the
time with it.
Conservatives have sort of it's like quite a traditional conservative stance to take? That they've targeted this bill in particular because of that, as
Yes,
more
I
so
mean,
the
yeah.
legal
There's
aspect.
obviously there are reservations with the whole uh, morality of it, or whatever you want to call it, and how the Tory MPs actually view the bill. But I do think it's largely just a way of getting at the Scottish government. Still,
Very good at mending relations.
yeah,
Mm.
So that moves on to a point that we were talking about before the podcast. Um, you, Murph, reckon that
Yeah.
it's more power to them, more power to the Scottish.
I'm in a position where I feel bad for the Scots at this point. Like, all right, after the referendum where they chose to stay, right? I feel like everything has just gone wrong in regards to like UK politics. Just had a massive decline in general. Like we just had massive shit spots. Um, but I feel like if you mean you can speak on your experience, Ethan, speaking to people in Edinburgh. I feel like most people at this point, if they're in Scotland, if I was Scottish, I probably wouldn't want to be part of the UK. And that's coming from a UK, like from an English perspective. I want us to be a United Kingdom. Like I love the idea of us having this union. But if I was a Scot, I'd probably not want to be in the fucking UK. Probably want to be independent. You know what I mean? From all the
Yep.
shit that's going on in the news. Like I don't I almost I feel bad. Like I feel bad for the Scottish people, especially on what I'm hearing. And I'm not into politics as much as both of you guys are, but from like an outsider's perspective, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I feel like if I was Scottish, I'd just want out. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
well,
Go on, Tom.
I'm sure you can guess what I think.
Expand on it.
They had their opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't use it.
Tough
Unlucky.
luck.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
I understand, especially with the Brexit makes it so many times more complicated
Worse.
because
Yeah.
obviously Scotland voted to remain in, and that is a huge decision.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Murph, I can understand why the Scots want independence. Their section of the union is way better run. Like their facilities, their infrastructure, their spending, they're more progressive. They do it better in Scotland, and I'm sure they feel as if like they're being hampered or limited or dragged down, I guess, by the rest of the
Yeah.
UK. And that is annoying for them. But at the end of the day, like I don't know. Like we've got so much history. Like we need to stop looking at it in Scotland versus England. That's not how it should be. We're meant to be one united kingdom. At the end of the day, we've got so much shared history, so much shared culture. You don't need your independent nation. Um,
Mm.
and kicking it off. Oh, we want independence all the time. Is it's not helping anyone. They get more funding per person than any other region in the UK.
Their universities are free.
The universities are free. They enjoy a lot of benefits, and admittedly, yes, that's because their section of the kingdom does more, produces more. But I don't know. I'm against Scottish independence. I can understand why they want it.
I understand what you're trying to say with like the history of things. I'm just coming across like if there was a referendum right now, it would be an astounding avalanche of they want to leave.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
I reckon it would be like 70% leave. Like I think it would
More,
be.
I think.
Yeah, like so when we're at a point where that's the case, and we're just saying, "Lol," like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them because yes, they did vote on like to remain within the UK at that period of time. Now we've done what we've done. The UK government, I feel like they are almost entitled to a second referendum, and that's not even really that political. I just feel like how badly they've had it recently.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was Scottish, I'd feel used, and regardless of the history, yes,
how were they used? They're going through the same thing as I'm going through. They don't have it worse than us at all.
Yeah, but they're not.
I'm not sat here demanding English independence.
Yeah, but in England, we're represented a lot more within the government, right? Like the Scottish don't really have a say too much. Like with the bill,
Yeah, they do.
Like no, but I swear
they have exactly the same bloody.
But I swear with like with the bill, like the UK government can just say "lol" on that.
Yeah, because that's from the Scottish devolved Parliament.
But that bill did have cross-party support, so it was voted in by Labour, it was voted in by Green, it was voted in by Conservatives. 3 Conservatives MPs voted for it in the Scottish Parliament. So that is the democratic will of the people.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I'm talking more broader sense here. Maybe that bill should go through, but and you can make the argument that the UK government blocking it was a poor decision. I think they should have gone through the courts.
Yeah,
gone to the Supreme Court personally, but
well, it's just going to end up there anyway now.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I can understand it, and I'm probably coming across a right bloody patriot right here, but
I think in an ideal world, I think I'd love for us all to stay a union, but in the reality, I don't think if it's a will of majority of the Scottish people, I feel like is that not democracy to let them have another one?
It is, and it's also very hypocritical of us when we're sat here collectively as a country going, "Oh, can't believe the next general election's so far away." We want one now. Clearly, the Tories would not get back in, and then we're the same people saying, "Oh, they shouldn't get a referendum vote," even though they clearly want to leave. So you can't have your cake and eat it. You've got to either sit on the side of democracy and the people's will, or you can't.
Yeah, I think coming from like an English perspective, it's very much let's keep Scotland. I'd love to keep Scotland in the union, but looking at them, man, I pity it a little bit. Like, I feel bad.
You feel bad. I think that's wrong. Don't feel bad for them. We've done nothing wrong against them.
I feel like but like for instance, when they wanted to remain, and then we as a union voted to leave, and it's like, okay, cool. Now they're like, okay, and they probably don't want to be within this union if we don't share similar political views. Like as a country, if they have a differing political compass, then they should probably be independent. And I think that's how they feel.
And then we were all pushing for Brexit as well, saying, "Oh, we want to get out of this union." And then when Scotland wants to get out of their union, we're like,
"No, that benefits us."
Completely different. That is completely.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah. I'll probably do sound like a massive hypocrite, but
I don't think so. But I think we can move on from that subject.
Yeah. So
Call of Scotland. Stay in the union. Stay in, boys.
Take your pick, gents. We've got the YouTube CEO. We've got BBC office in India. We've got the balloons scenario.
Oh, balloons. Do balloons.
Okay, we can do that. I've not done much research on this. You guys will know a bit more than me on this.
So yeah, first you want to place a monkey down on balloons tower defense 5.
Put a super monkey down.
Yeah, tack shoot.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Go on, Mons.
I think it's China doing a mad one, and but have you seen like they've shot down like 4,
Yeah.
like 3 of them are just random like duds. They're not even like Chinese. So the US is definitely like they've just been trolled. Honestly, they fully have just been trolled. China's poked the bear a little bit, giving them a little. We'll see what we can get away with here. And then they've gone on high lockdown. Then they shot down that like amateur hobbyist group $12 balloon with a jet. Think about that. They
wasted $500,000 on a missile.
Yeah, they've
Probably
spent
more,
so much on a missile just to shoot down this random balloon over Canada.
And the best bit is they missed the first shot. This
Did
F-14
they?
or whatever it was, went to shoot the
Oh,
balloon.
no.
They missed the first shot. That does not give me great confidence in the Air Force.
No.
I mean, I just think it's just kind of, but yeah, it's China have used the balloon to get some intelligence. Obviously, fully believe that. Bollocks, did it drift off course? Yeah, whatever, mate. But don't think there's too much wrong with it. It's not like the US don't do that.
Yeah, I'm sure most countries do.
They'll have drones and balloons and satellites looking into China 24/7.
Yeah.
It's just because this one's been.
It's the one that's been highlighted that's been caught.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit.
And they had loads during Trump's presidency that they didn't shoot down. Biden's like the first one to shoot one down.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Trump's on his his own little social media thing. He's tweeting like, "Oh yeah, I would shoot it down. I would shoot it down, mate. You refused to shoot 3 of them down, but didn't tell the public at all." So he's waffling.
That is cheeky.
It's so cheeky, but I think it's funny. I just think it's funny. Every day, breaking news every bloody day. Oh yeah, unidentified object shot down over America. Yeah.
Oh, they love calling them UFOs, don't they? Any chance they get to use the word UFO, jumping on it.
You and your conspiracy.
It's better than saying fucking balloon. Like, if the headline is balloon shot down over United States, no one gives a shit, innit? So you just say, UFO works better. I don't know. For me, the whole issue, I just don't trust either country with at all. Like, we'll hear one thing, China will say a different thing. I just don't trust either side, so I just completely choose to ignore it and just block it. That's where I sit on that, this kind of news. I don't believe. I believe China and America are both doing that, like the surveillance, but I don't believe that. I very much believe that America could just shoot them down, stick a Chinese thing on them, and say, "Oh, look, it's Chinese." Do you know what I mean? Like, and same with China. So both would do that. So it's at the point now where when you have such distrust with both countries, anything either one say doesn't matter because you can't trust any of it. Yep. So I'm just sat there like, right. So I just ignore it. Like, that kind of news, I just completely ignore. Like, because it is pointless in my personal opinion. It's just pointless.
I think something similar happened in Ukraine. This is getting into conspiracy theory territory.
Oh,
but
brilliant.
there was a video released by some Ukrainian. I don't know if it was on Twitter or if it's like some other form of like pro-Ukrainian propaganda or whatever. But it was a hobbyist drone with like a 10-pound camera sellotaped to it. And they were like, yeah, we shot down a Russian spy drone. This is what they're having to resort to or something. No, it's not. Shut up. They're not doing that. Like, come on. I see right through what you're trying to do here. I just don't believe for a second that they've actually done that.
No.
And, I think any country is willing to do something like that in terms of the manipulation or whatever, just to sway public opinion a little bit.
Yeah, propaganda is just interesting. Propaganda is interesting, but it's like equally annoying. Like, for say World War I and World War II, it was just posters and stuff, so it spread a little bit slower. But now we've got like social media and shit. Propaganda is so easily spread, and like, I mean, China can just not tell the Chinese people what the Americans are saying and just only show their own propaganda. So they've got that.
Yeah.
And then America can just brainwash their own country like through their media because it's not exactly uncorrupt.
Yeah.
So like it's just both sides are so fucked, man. I just like
Yeah.
I said, it's just so annoying to me. But propaganda is interesting anyway.
We live in a revolutionary period of history where exactly what you said, these pieces of propaganda can reach everybody, and it's so
Yes.
impossibly difficult to tell what's propaganda and what isn't.
Do you remember the
And
Ghost of Kiev?
yep, for example, anyone who thinks that we're 100% exempt on our side of the bridge from doing anything like
Yeah,
that
he
needs to
plays on
check
the
that
left
out.
wing for Chelsea now, mate.
Fuck's sake.
There's a Russian video released as well, propaganda video, and it was encouraging people to move to Russia from the West. And it was like, oh, beautiful scenery, beautiful women, beautiful food, all this stuff. And it's just hilarious, man. It's so funny.
I think it's gonna just get worse and worse though, with all these like deep fakes, and you can
That's
replicate the
scary.
voices.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna get so many videos like all over social media just that are just not true. Like someone will deep fake something like really good, and it will just send the world into like mass panic, I reckon.
I think it's so fucking scary because it just discredits
Yeah.
relevant things as well. So like, say for instance, the only thing that like rape victims say have against people is they can record it or something and have evidence. Oh no, it was deep faked. Cool, done. So that you can't trust either now. So like that the evidence recorded is no longer evidence trusted. So it's so scary to me. Like seeing, I don't know if you guys have seen the streamer AIs on on YouTube. Mate, that's so scary to me. Like, because okay, yeah, they're pretty funny, and some of the XQC ones where it's like that's it's quite funny to me. But like that's so fucking scary because if they can do that now,
it's getting bad.
and think how quick that's come up. Imagine in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're not going to know the difference.
I don't know what it is, but I've seen it all over Twitter the last few days. It's like they're not deep faking it, but they've got the voices of certain people like bang on. Like I don't think it's impersonators. They've like come like digitally done it.
Trump,
and it's
Obama,
Trump,
Biden.
Obama,
Yeah.
Biden. They're all playing like Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like you just know it's going to be used for something else.
Yeah. Because it'll only get better from here, right? So
yeah. Like
well, it all kicked off because of this Twitch streamer, who he was going through, like he flashed from his gameplay to his Chrome browser or something, and one of the tabs he had open was a link to an AI deepfake porn site and on it he was watching his like streamer mates he knew, like Pokemon and stuff, and he knew those girls in real life, and he got caught doing that, and he got fucking rinsed.
Jesus,
that's shocking.
That's honking.
But you
That's
know,
so bad.
for these female public figures, that is absolutely terrifying. You know, if you're second, you get any prevalence, it's like, oh, unconsensual pornography media.
Yeah, that's horrible. Like I don't know. The
I mean,
internet,
that's
I
been
give
around
up.
for a while now.
But it's only getting like better now.
Yeah, it'll just get better and better.
Don't say better. Don't say better. Say worse.
Okay.
Higher quality,
image.
worse. Yeah,
All-
but
Mate,
worse.
all the
say that.
Kumas are loving it though. Like, honestly, if you're a Kuma, you're just so excited with the whole. Oh, it doesn't matter. The point is that there was this video going around.
No. We're going back to that.
Let's elaborate.
What's
Have you
a
not heard
Kuma?
of that terminology before?
No.
It just means like horny bastard. It's on
So you.
Okay, brilliant.
Nah. Day 10, no faff. There's a photo going around on Twitter recently. You might have seen it, Barnes. It was these 4 girls, and it turned out it's like these 4 very beautiful girls, and they'd all been deep faked.
Yeah, I've seen this.
All completely deep faked.
They're just not. They don't exist. They don't exist. There's
Yeah.
AI. They don't. But they look real.
Yeah, and it blew everyone's minds.
But what can they do with that? At this point, genuinely, you can't believe anything on the internet. Before, there was some level you could. Like,
yeah.
With the internet, you obviously say, oh, where do you find it? Facebook. Oh, you can't believe it. Cool, I get that. But like for the most part, if you see a video on the internet, it probably happened, right? Like, you can say some things are edited, but they're edited badly. Now, or in the future, like, bro, it's going to be completely, you can't tell.
Until you take it to, like, court and they look at the metadata of the video, you're never going to be able to disprove it. Like,
you can't do that for everything as well.
Let's say, like, I don't know, you could use it in business against celebrities. You could use it in if you want like a certain person to be like slandered online, even though they could like protect themselves in the law court, like you could pay like bot accounts on like Twitter just like spam videos of like a certain celebrity like kicking a dog or something, and it might just be like completely made
Kurt
up.
Zuma.
Like, no, because that's don't get me started. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could, and like you could just spam these videos, and then like you know what, 99% of people they'll just go, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so and so's just kicked the dog, like,
Yeah.
even though they might not have, you know.
And that's reputation ruin then.
Yeah,
People believe what they see.
like
most of
any
the time.
aspiring like young person's gonna like struggle with that if they have like a rival or enemy or someone who doesn't want them.
Yeah.
An enemy.
I don't know what you want to call
They're
it.
outspoken against like a
Like,
specific group or something.
The oil companies could so do that to the Greta kid.
Thunberg.
Yeah, they could.
No, but
annihilate her.
she's a puppet for them anyway.
Hmm.
Okay,
Like,
conspiracy theory mode
Ah.
activated.
She
Here we go. Juicy
She actually
stuff.
is though. She actually
Yeah,
is. Like,
I can't stand her or her family.
yeah, we need like a competent leader to help the climate sort of revolution or whatever. Let's get this kid who's not finished school, and let's whack her on the forefront. And
I feel
let's
bad
set
for her, man.
inspiration. I feel terrible for her.
I
I
feel
feel
horrible.
terrible for
Yeah,
her.
her parents have used her like so badly.
Yeah.
How can you do that to your kid, man?
Yeah, they're
Let 'em
part
have a childhood.
They're part of Antifa or whatever you
Yeah,
want to say.
which is a registered terrorist group, isn't it, in some states in America? So it's pretty good. There's, imagine if they replaced her with someone articulate and scientific and who was able to stand up in the UN and instead of start crying and going, "How dare you? How dare you?" in front of everyone,
Yeah.
was able to give some sort of persuasive argument or something. But then would anyone listen? I don't know. But the point is that I think she's a terrible leader in that regard.
She's a great like poster child or whatever you want to call
Like
it.
a mascot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, honestly.
I don't think that's bad that they've chosen this disabled autistic girl. They're using her out of the fact that she's got autism. Like, I think that's pretty bad.
That's horrible. Yeah.
They're using the fact that she's autistic.
I don't know. These issues, man.
We got David Attenborough. Use him.
Yes,
Yeah.
He's
what
got
the
2
fuck?
years left. Use
Bro,
him.
yeah.
Use him.
Hopefully he's got 2 years left.
No, he's got more.
He'll make 100. Is he 100 yet? No, he's not.
No,
90,
he's like
isn't he?
96. So put your bets in, boys.
He was a year younger than the
What we
Queen, so
saying?
I'm going to say
What we saying?
96. Yeah.
I'm saying 97.
Uh,
Let's see.
ooh, 96.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude.
Coming up to
Sure.
97. Very close to 97.
Ah, okay. Bro, did you watch his recent documentary? That like moved me.
Which one?
That his last one he did, where it was like, I watched that a while ago now, but like he goes into like
A
his
Life on
like
Our
childhood.
Planet.
I
Yeah.
think, He goes into like his childhood and
no.
stuff, and like goes through his whole life
I-
of what he's done and what he's fought for.
Mate, I'm convinced if they locked every leader, every politician in the world in a room and made them watch that, the world would be a better place.
I fully agree.
But I don't think it's the politicians anyway. I think it's the people who pay for their campaigns.
Oh,
It's
true,
like-
true,
yeah.
of course. But
So they're
Get all of them as well.
You can have the best will in the world.
get all the oil
politicians.
company CEOs in.
They won't give a shit.
They'll just be like, ugh, look at that. Where's my money?
Facts.
Bring me my money.
Well, I think that's a lovely tangent to go back from now.
Go on.
So that was the balloons topic, in case anyone forgot.
Yep, really well done on keeping the topic, boys.
Great job, as
We've
always.
established we don't like Greta Thunberg's family.
Yeah, true.
From that, what a great.
Excellent assessment.
Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, the other three big things are the BBC office in India, the YouTube CEO situation, and then the really, really big one is the earthquake in Turkey.
Yeah, that's horrible, dude. Some of the stuff's been happening. How many dead are there now?
I'm not sure.
Do we have a
I don't want
figure?
to say like. I don't want to throw out some absolutely completely wrong statistic.
Yeah, I'll get it up. It's been ridiculous. Oh, Jesus.
20,000.
38,044 have been
never
killed.
mind. That's rough. That is so rough.
There was a footballer as well, wasn't there?
Christian Atsu, yeah.
Jesus, man, it's ridiculous.
And they said, I've not watched much on it, but somebody was saying how that earthquake, in terms of like the scale of earthquakes they could have had, actually wasn't that bad. It shouldn't have caused 38,000 deaths, but it's the
Mm,
shoddy construction and corruption in the
yeah.
construction industry that's led to that many deaths because everyone's just been skimping on building regs.
Also, doesn't help that it's probably in like the worst region for like assistance. Have you seen that? You know, right? You know how we're allies with Turkey.
Yeah.
Turkey has got so much aid sent to it as a result of this. Obviously, they need it. Don't get me wrong, that's great. Syria,
Not much.
Syria has got so little in comparison.
Didn't we go to war with Syria?
No, we've not been out of war. We've
We've had
assisted.
soldiers in there. Right?
We've assisted rebels.
Oh, okay.
We've started, or like at least when David Cameron was in. I don't know if we're doing it at the moment. We've been airstriking
Yeah, Iraq went
loads
to
of
war with
stuff.
Syria, didn't they? And then we went to war with Iraq.
What?
I think that's what happened. That
Well,
might be wrong.
they might. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think so. Went to war with Iraq, but I don't think they went to war with Syria, mate.
Let's be out.
You might have to check that
Syria,
up.
Iraq war.
Mate, this Turkey stuff's not good.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah,
But-
so that's Syrian civil war, Iraqi volunteers fighting in Syria alongside the Syrian army. So we were de facto fighting Iraq then.
Okay.
Well, there's not much else to say on that other than it's a
Yeah,
tragedy,
well.
unfortunately.
No, it's horrible. I think it just highlights though, like how potentially not exactly just earthquakes, but we're doing this in economic development at uni, which is why I'm going to bring it up. How like third world countries or lesser off countries, developing countries mainly, will struggle with these climate change issues that arise a lot worse than what we will. Obviously, an earthquake's very different from that, but to draw a tangent to it, I feel like a lot of developing countries, specifically like Africa, like when the climate will rise like 2-3 degrees, I think it's 2 degrees in the next 20-30 years, like how the
Nope,
fuck are they going to
it's
survive
2 degrees on average. It's 7 degrees in the equator. So
how the fuck are they going to live, man?
they
Like,
can't.
And it's like anything, it highlights, like we said with the whole earthquake thing, the shoddy infrastructure and poor building structures. That's probably going to be worse in Africa than it is in Turkey, I'd argue. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but in certain parts of Africa potentially. And then
Yeah.
yeah, man, I don't know. It just feels bad.
They're absolutely finished, and it's going to be inhospitable. It's ridiculous. I mean, China are okay. They're doing it for their own means, but they're attempting to push back desertification with their like forestry plantation efforts. China's planted more trees than sort of the next three countries combined. They're the highest
Yeah,
forestation provider at the minute. But obviously, that's like a matter of self-interest. They're not doing that because they feel like being the good guys.
yeah,
But the point is still, those countries cannot deal with that. They can't. These disasters are just going to get worse and worse and worse. And then we have the cheek to go, actually, mate, no migrating over here, thanks. Even though we've caused it with our emissions, you can stay there and suffer, which is fucking dreadful.
yeah. I think it's just such. I don't know. I don't want to blag about too much on climate change. I want to keep it based on the news. But like I said, I was speaking to my lecturer, and like so many people disbelieve in climate change. Like so many people just like he was like, I'm not sure if I believe. I'm like, Like, what do you mean you don't believe? He's like, yeah, it could be just like Earth's tendency.
I think
And
it's
I'm
mental. Like,
like,
I don't want to name him, but a certain person we went sixth form with, I see it on his Instagram story every
yeah,
bloody
don't name it, but yeah.
yeah, every bloody other day. It's like, oh mate, come on,
I
are
guess
you really that thick?
the
Honestly,
the problem is that I think that the way that it's approached is so bad. It's like, oh, doom
of
and
course.
gloom. We're a virus. We're killing the planet. There's no hope. You'd be better off if you just died. All this stuff. and it's like, oh, we need to cull the Earth's population by this much, for example,
No,
to
no,
for sustain or whatever. And it's like, no, 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 no. Focus on sustainable development. There's more than enough time to turn it around. We've faced great adversity as a species before. We're not down the drain. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, Jacob.
Morning, Jacob. How we doing?
Jacob, you're on the podcast. Welcome. Brilliant. Cheers. No. Go
Cheers,
on.
Jacob.
Let's get your thoughts real quick.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on. Let's get his thoughts real quick.
Go on, then.
Change over. In the chair.
What are we getting the thoughts on, Barnes?
I don't know. Ask a question.
I'm sorry that he's put me on the spot. I didn't mean to burst in. That's
I-
very
Do you
unprofessional.
want to introduce yourself, Jacob?
Yes, I'm a fellow bald man like Dan. I
Beautiful.
go to Nottingham Trent University with this, as I previously mentioned, fat slug.
Nice.
Yeah. Would you say anything about me, Barnes, to introduce me? I eat a lot of meat. That's about it.
True.
Yeah.
Liver
Oh,
King. Volume
Yeah,
two.
that's a
Beefy
good
boy.
question we can ask you actually. So we're talking about we've gone off on a bit of a tangent about sustainability and stuff. Your meat-based diet not very sustainable, is it?
Insanely sustainable, actually.
Why?
Because you kill a lot more things harvesting non-animals like crops and agriculture than you actually do harvesting an animal. Because essentially you just give cows grass and water. That's very sustainable if you ask me. But to make a soybean, tofu, vegan bullshit, you have to kill a lot of different animals and insects with pesticides,
It's true.
other horrible herbicides. You have to kill lots of squirrels that try and eat the food. You have to kill anything that goes anywhere near that crop and that wildlife. But with a cow, you just choose
Leave it
grass.
to it. Yeah.
What about all
Yeah.
the methane?
Methane, well, I don't think that's to do with the cows, really. I think that's to do with pollution, the fact that there's fucking 8 billion people on the planet. We can get rid of half of them, if you ask me. And I'm not, and that's not even in a horrible way, but there are too many people, literally. That is a fact, too many people. And methane doesn't 100% just come from the cows. It comes from the fact that there's too many people, I think. And the methane and the way cows are produced, and like not just cows. I'm just using cows as an example,
That's
obviously, like
fine.
farming.
Yeah.
But I feel like there should be a responsible farm and responsible agriculture. If there was one of them in every single county that didn't use herbicides and pesticides, obviously it's not going to happen because of the way the world is. If there was one of them in every county, there'd be a lot less pollution. I don't think that there's too many cows. I think there's too many cows for everyone to eat the way I eat for the amount of people there are. If
Yeah.
there was like a lot
Yeah.
less people, we could eat the way I eat. But I think that's just because of the way we like manufacture it and don't treat animals very nicely and have to ship them across the fucking world and stuff. You should only be able to eat what's grown where you are, I think.
Yeah.
I-
Just for context, you're on a carnivore diet, right?
Yeah, I want to
Yes,
go
yeah,
into
yeah.
that. Could you explain what your day-to-day diet is, please?
I will do that in 1 second. Can I make this smaller, Barnes? Your head's massive. How do I do that?
His head is very big.
Sorry, I've
Me and Barnes have the same size head.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, me and Barnes have the same size head. It's triple
I
XL.
thought yours
That
was
is-
smaller.
No, it's triple XL head on the go-karting helmets. That's how we know.
Whoa.
Is it? But yeah, Jacob, go through what your day in the life is for eating.
Day in the life would be I don't eat anything all day, and then I might have a coffee. I rarely have a coffee, to be fair, anymore, unless I go on a social like coffee with Barnes and one of our other housemates. I rarely
Yeah.
really do that by myself anymore. And then I probably won't eat until the evening, kind of when I start to get hungry. Like I'm eating now because I've just been at work and it's very just boring. I'm a bit hungry, not eating all day. And I'll just have one big meal. Roughly, my measure is roughly around a kilo of meat. So I'll have like a kilo of 20 or 25% fat beef mince made into patties.
Mhm.
And then because obviously the fat drips out in the bottom of the tray and I want to have as much fat as possible, I put a bit of beef dripping on that maybe, or some butter. I've just bought some Lurpak just now. Yeah. Butter. Yeah. So that's pretty much my diet. It's just beef mince because it's cheap. If I could afford steaks or fancy cuts, I would. But beef mince is like £3 a kilo. So
Yeah, it is pretty cheap to be
Do you
fair.
still eat heart?
I only do that when I get it because it's quite hard to get beef heart. But I've actually got some deer meat at home that I butchered myself the other week. Actually, that was quite fun.
Fair play.
It's quite a rewarding experience. I think next step is killing it myself and then butchering it. But yeah, I've got a deer leg and some deer just like stir fry bits, I guess, because we're not really good at butchering it. So it's just jagged bits of meat that we cut off it, really. Yeah.
Have you noticed with your diet through not eating, because I was watching this podcast about I think it was Andrew Huberman talk about not eating for a large part of your day because your mental energy is drained when you eat, and a lot of your energy is diverted to your digestive system. Do you feel more alert and more sort of active mentally and physically when you don't eat in the mornings?
Not necessarily the mornings, but if I've gone a long period just on water, I do feel a little bit more. I don't. It's not that I necessarily feel more alert, but there's never any drop. Because so if you have a big meal, you're normally a bit like, bit,
Yeah.
you're a bit heavy, you feel a bit sluggish. I never get a drop. It's very sustained, sort of average energy, and I feel like it depends on what I do first in the morning. Because if I get up and go to the gym in the morning, I'll still wait until the evening to eat. But if I do that, I just feel still alert, still like pinging from the workout sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like if I do nothing, I just mong about. I feel pretty just average baseline. But yeah, I don't feel any sort of like, oh
Dips,
God,
crashes.
I'm desperate for some food. I'm desperate for this. I'm desperate for that. Like even if I wasn't gonna have a kilo of mince or whatever, I was gonna have a average sort of a normal person's meal. I can still go the whole day without eating. I've got pretty used to that, like, because my stomach doesn't rumble anymore. I don't think, oh God, I'm so hungry, because that's just your body thinking it's feeding time when it's not actually feeding
Yeah, it's
time. Whereas
habitual
obviously
more than
it's,
anything.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's habitual for me to just have one meal a day. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another question I want to ask about it because I'm interested. Do you find it works better with your like MMA and training martial arts?
I find it works really good because, I'm going to use a specific day in the routine as a good example. So there's training in the mornings and the evenings at the MMA gym. Obviously, with a lot of uni stuff and not being able to get back there as much, I can only really train in the evenings.
Yeah.
But Tuesday, the pros and like people that compete and stuff kind of train Tuesday. So Tuesday morning we'd have wrestling, let's say. Then that's like 2 hours. Then we'll have an hour to 2 hours break. Then we'll do some Thai pad work. Then we'll have an hour to 2 hours break, and then we have the same again with no break in the evening. So Thai straight into wrestling in the evening. So
Hmm.
that's like a pretty full-on day from like 10:30 until like 8 o'clock, really.
Yeah.
Maybe even 8:30 because they're a bit longer in the evenings. But then like I used to do that, eating like just a bit of fruit, maybe a little bit of like tinned fish, something really still I'd say light, something quite light, quite quick in
Yeah.
between those sessions in the morning and then the break in the evening. And honestly, I've never felt better just not having anything other than just water through them sessions, through the break, and then just having one big meal in the evening. I feel like I've got a lot more energy throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
And maybe at the start of like the second workout, I'm feeling a little bit tired because my body's obviously having to like recycle all its glycogen and like do its own gluconeogenesis because I'm not giving it anything. But as
Hmm.
soon as I've like started moving, essentially once I've done a warm up, really, once I've done a warm
Yeah.
up, I feel fresh. During the warm up, might feel a little bit tired. As soon as I've done the warm up, I'm feeling ready to go. I can do the whole session as if I've just taken some G Fuel or something. I feel
Mm.
like I've got energy. I feel all right. I couldn't think of a Red Bull. I couldn't think of anything.
That's really
Yeah, but
interesting.
yeah, I can go the whole. I prefer to do it that way as well because I actually feel like, obviously, if I ate 2 or 3 times in the day, even small, and then I had a kilo, it's not the same. But if I've trained all day and then I've like a big, heavy meal, I'm
Mm.
feeling pretty satisfied and pretty like I don't binge after that sort of day. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
No.
if I
Yeah.
do nothing all day, even if I have like a little bit of something in the afternoon and it's relatively still carnivore, sometimes I'm thinking in the evening like, oh, let's have some like I don't know crisps, let's have something bad. But
Mm.
yeah,
That's pretty much as primal and bestial as you can get, isn't it? You do a whole
yeah,
day's work and then you're having a
yeah.
big meal with pretty much just meat at the end.
Especially training like martial arts, I feel like it's like a simulated hunt the whole fucking day, and then you
Oh
go into your meal.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
I do always think about that sort of phrase a little bit every then, like trying to be primal or like, and sometimes I'm obviously I can't say it if I had a client, but like if I'm doing training with someone from the gym and I'm giving them some exercises to do or something, I'll say it to
Mm.
them and I'll say, yeah, but if you think about it, yeah, you wouldn't just, for example, like a cool down and a warm up. If you think about it, you wouldn't just go hunting. You'd wake up and start sprinting. You'd start walking,
Mm.
tracking. That's your warm up. You're moving about, then you'd go for it, and then afterwards, it's not like you've killed it and you just go to bed. You killed it,
Mm.
and then you got to drag it back. You got to cut it up. Still quite active. And it's not that I actually want to be a caveman. I'm just thinking that is what we came from, sort of thing. So I do
Yeah.
always
You're
have that.
hardwired to think that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, always got it in the back of my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think you live a more fulfilled life that way at least.
Mm,
But that's my personal opinion.
yeah.
Do you think that diet is sustainable for anybody in terms of like their mental well-being and their
That's a good question, because I would never say to someone go straight into it, because obviously I went into it because I did a lot of research on it. I train a lot anyway. It's not like someone that just wants to improve overall health. I wanted to get the best out of my training, best out of overall health as well, I guess. But like, for example, my mum and dad, I'd never say to them, go and start eating a kilo of mince a day, because one, they've not
Mm,
been doing it their entire life. They're like 60, both of them pretty much. So
yeah.
it's like that's 60 years where I've only had 20 years and I'm very active and I've done different diets. And this is actually probably the one diet I've stuck to the most, because I've done loads of different, like, oh, I'll fast and then eat at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. I'll do this, I'll do that. And I do think it's very sustainable, but I'm never going to tell my mum or my dad to go and do that, because I think, like you say,
Mm.
it's not. They're probably not going to enjoy it because they're so used to just little habits of other things. But what I will do is give I'll probably suggest to someone. I'd never say you should do 100% just meat. I'd say try doing, eliminate certain foods and then eliminate this and then eliminate this, and then eventually you would be left with the meat. But
Yeah,
yeah.
the reason I asked is I have pretty bad digestion. I have
Mm.
gluten intolerance and I'm lactose sensitive, and I am bloated all the time. I feel defeated all the time, lethargic all the time. So any sort of dietary change I would be open to experimenting with.
Well, to completely ignore what I just said about I'd never suggest going directly into meat.
And to suggest.
Yeah, to suggest, I reckon. No, but you could start off like, because you say your diet, you do you not like dairy? Does that not react well with you?
I don't do a lot of dairy. Yeah.
Like meat and fruit and maybe white rice, that would be the start. That's literally what I say to everyone who ever asks for diet advice. Meat and fruit and white rice. You're not getting any inflammation from that, really. The only inflammation you get from is the carbs, not any extra, you know, um, oxalates or I can't remember the word now, but what's in plants, which is the reason I don't have vegetables. But you don't really get any of that in the fruit. It's just the carbs and the extra water that
Mm,
I would then say is the difference between that and the only meat diet. But I'd say those three things, everyone can live a happy, a lot healthier life off something like that.
Mm, yeah.
yeah.
And you think that the high fat percentage in that mince, that the idea of like the cholesterol from that or whatever, is like a bit of a myth, do you think?
It's an absolute myth. There's people doing it that get their blood work done, um, and it shows their cholesterol is better than it was when they were eating carbs and normal food. Because essentially, it's not like fat. You eat fat and it comes onto your body, and cholesterol comes in. First of all, cholesterol is important to produce testosterone. You won't be able to do it if you didn't have any cholesterol. If it was that bad for you, a Brexit Barry who's having 3 bacon sandwiches a day would not be able to get an erection, would not be able to action
You sat
function
next
as a
to him.
man. I know. I was gonna do that, but I didn't want to. But yeah, cholesterol is. Can you go downstairs and turn the grill off? Because I've got some bacon in, and I'm really into this conversation right now. Yeah, cheers.
Thanks,
Um,
Tom.
cheers, Tom. Yeah, if you take the bacon out, I'll just come and do that later. Yeah, yeah, and because Audi's not open and Sainsbury's don't do 20 or 25% fat mince, I've got 2 packets of bacon that I'm having for tea with some butter.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Some butter.
yeah, butter. And people, I'm taking my coat off. I'm getting comfortable.
That's good.
But yeah, also it's boiling in his room. I don't know what he's doing.
It's just the heat he raised, man,
Yeah,
honestly.
fuck me. The window's open. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, where were we? Oh,
The
completely.
cholesterol.
What? The
Oh yeah,
cholesterol. Yeah.
cholesterol. There's a lot of myths because, like, you look at. I'm sure people heard it and they don't think it's true. But if you look at a lot of stories, and studies, because I do look at a lot of studies as well. If you look at a lot of studies from back in the day saying, carbs aren't bad, but fat is, they're all
Mm,
sponsored by people who run sugar companies, and they were all
yeah.
completely falsified results. I've seen loads of podcasts with like neurosurgeons who disagree with it, saying like, it's just falsified. It's not. All of them were like fake data. They may have actually done the study, but the data you're seeing is not what actually
Real.
happened.
Yeah.
But then also like I say, cholesterol is good for your hormones. Like I've heard of things. A lot of it's anecdotal because people haven't done studies on it. But I've heard some crazy stories. Some woman couldn't get pregnant, started eating carnivore, got pregnant,
Mm,
or they were trying to have a baby, or some like 50-year-old woman who didn't get periods, anymore,
mm,
started having them again because she's having so much more cholesterol and having all this stuff. And that's very anecdotal. But then when you recently, because it's actually becoming quite a big thing, like the carnivore diet is.
yeah.
That's one thing I hate about saying I'm on it. This is why I don't tell people I'm on it, because veganism's kind of ruined me saying I'm on carnivore, because they're two
Mm,
extremes and people think I'm going to be like a a dietitian terrorist and be like, oh, you need to eat just only meat. Like, I don't give a shit what you want to eat.
Yeah.
Just understand. Like, don't try and tell me that what I'm eating isn't healthy because I've looked into it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care if you want to eat that tray of chocolate fingers. You know, you do that, but don't tell me that red meat's bad for me when you're eating pure processed crap, type thing.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
And there's a lot of studies coming out recently saying that if you look at, I've got one on my phone somewhere. When Barnes comes back, I don't mind finding it. I don't know if you guys plug reference like studies or not. I don't know.
I'll stick them in the description.
Okay, yeah,
If you
but
send the link across.
there's some new ones which are like basically saying across hundreds of individuals, high fat, high protein diet, absolutely no correlation between that and heart disease, anything to do with that. So, I mean, it's very interesting time with all these studies coming out.
Yeah, I was going to say with the studies coming out, I'm kind of just curious as to like where they go with it because I'm interested as well. I think coming from experience, I swear Jordan Peterson and his daughter, they both went carnivore because she had really, really bad health issues. She went carnivore, yeah, like it literally like fixed her health issues. So that adds on to what you were saying earlier when people just go on it and some like miracle happens.
Yeah.
And I just personally feel like if you just go down to our roots, we weren't supposed to really eat rice back in the day. Like from what we were, like, you know what I mean? And I'm a big rice advocate. I do eat quite a bit of rice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if I could and I applied myself, I probably would do the full carnivore diet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's optimal. Do you know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from. I feel like it's optimal. You can skive out and have like carbs to make up calories and this, that, the other. But for what a human being needs, it just makes sense logically. Like if you just look back at the history, not even any studies, what we used to eat, like we grew up on it, our bodies are used to it, it's what our bodies need.
Dan's gonna be so fuming he's missing this conversation now.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have interrupted this podcast.
Oh no, it's more
thanks
than
for letting me in. Yeah.
That's all right. I don't know what we're going to name it now because it was politics, but it's completely.
We might have to split it in half or something. Have like two mini podcasts or something.
Maybe we can cut this bit out, and if I am on one in the future, it can be slotted in or something.
Nah, I reckon what we'll do is we'll keep it in, or we'll post it, and then what we'll do is we'll get you on another time.
Okay, nice.
For sure.
Nice.
So I'll just pick your brain whilst you're here.
Okay. Yeah.
So So the reason I asked basically is I'm trying to bulk at the minute. I've always struggled to bulk and keep weight on with my dietary needs that I've got. And in essence, when I am bulking, I feel dreadful, feel bloated all the time. I had 6 shits yesterday. Clearly not normal.
Was not expecting that. That's why I laughed. Yeah.
So in that scenario, I'm not sure what you're currently trying to maintain or cut or bulk.
I'm just trying to maintain at the minute because I've been eating I reckon because I've not trained for the last like 3 weeks really because I've had a little bit of a rash on my head and I don't want to give anyone that when I'm grappling obviously or doing MMA because because it's not like it's not infectious literally through like sweat, so it's literally like the one place I can't actually go is the gym unfortunately. But like like I've been living with these guys like all the last like 3 weeks, no one's got it or whatever. It's just like it is like a bodily fluid type rash, one of them. But I'm not really trying to bulk or maintain or cut or anything. If I started cutting, I reckon just the more training would help me cut because I eat probably the same weight as I was 3 weeks ago and I still have a kilo in today. Only thing I would say is I probably noticed tiny bit. I wouldn't even call it bloated, just like probably a tiny bigger, protrusion of my belly, just because I've not trained and then eaten the kilo mints. Like I reckon if it goes on for like ages, obviously I will start to put on weight. But I've been maintaining. That's another thing about the diet. There's so much like just fat and protein. I'm maintaining mass. Like I don't do any weights or anything like that. I did like literally like a couple of weeks with Barnes, like start Christmas, and that's about it for like years before that. I've just maintained mass, and I do attribute it a lot to the diet because you see a lot of people get into martial arts, they just try and cut weight or lose weight, whereas I've just got the energy that I need. If I need to lose mass for whatever reason my body decides, I reckon it will. If I'm training hard, doing a lot of wrestling, like in the summer I probably was a little bit lighter but probably had a bit more muscle because I was just doing sprints and like MMA training, and I was on such a consistent schedule. My body naturally dropped a bit and built me up a little bit. Yeah.
Do you reckon you're in ketosis?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I reckon I wouldn't be able to go the whole day without food if not.
Yeah.
In my own opinion. Yeah. It's interesting that you said that because I actually watched a video and listened to a study the other day. Because some people will argue, some people that then try and say you need carbs, is you don't want to be in a state of ketosis all the time because it's really bad for you. They never really give a full point on that. I don't really know what the full reason for that is, but then someone explained it. If you do it properly, well, I say properly, obviously there's lots of different ways to do a diet, but if you do what what some people, the ones that I would follow, would say is proper. If you have like one big meal, even if it has enough protein for your body, then you will be taken out of that state of ketosis because it's not just carbs that break it, it's just that carbs easily break it. If you have a huge thing of protein, like for example, I've probably got 165 grams in that one meal that I'm going to have on a daily basis. That's enough protein for my body to break me out of that state. It's breaking it down. I'm feeling maybe a little bit tired, a little bit lack of energy. And then I go to bed, wake up, lots of energy, back in ketosis, like throughout the night sort of thing.
That's interesting. I saw one of our friends did an EPQ presentation, Will Hart, and he did it on vegan ketosis. And he said that there were studies done which directly helped, or in the 60s, so I don't know how reliable they were, but apparently it was used to treat epilepsy at the time. But there was some bad side effects like seizures and stuff later on down the line. So I was just wondering.
Yeah. Now I've seen that you always see lots of crazy stuff, like apparently carnivore diet, or like just being not just carnivore, just being in ketosis, like eliminating a lot of carbs and stuff. Apparently that can help you put you in like a lot less risk of Alzheimer's. And one thing that I heard, which made me think I just never want to go back to adding it fully into my diet. And it's never been proven to be a direct cause, but that obesity is obviously like that's now bigger than smoking in causing cancer. I think, I don't know, that could be wrong, but I think that might be the highest cause now, or the highest like correlation, because obviously there's no way to say you're fat, you've got cancer or whatever. But I saw that apparently cancer cells and tumors, because obviously it's like an overproduction of cells, apparently that they fuel off carbs, off glucose, like extra glucose into the system. So, and I've seen that from quite a long time ago, but then obviously I don't know why that's not been introduced into, any not just even knowledge, just letting people know, or letting people know the benefits of ketosis or anything like that. Like so I'm not saying that's definitely true, but I have heard that from a couple of different like sources.
You are right in saying that obesity is the number one cause, by the way.
Okay.
I just looked it up.
Yeah. Lose some weight, everyone.
It's interesting that you don't get taught any of this at school.
No, because I actually watched your previous podcasts. I don't know if that would surprise you or not, but I actually watched them both, and I watched the one about school, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, we got some flack from some of the older generation saying that they didn't know how to use technology on that one.
No, but like I can remember you guys saying why they're not teaching you this in school about how to be healthy and how to do this. But I think it comes down to like, I don't think if you asked your PE teacher the best way, improve health, or if you asked your PE teacher, the people that are supposed to be there, can I have a great workout routine? They wouldn't fucking know. They just know how to teach you how to throw a ball, and they don't really do that, do they?
No.
Like, so I think it's a lack of everyone being educated, not just the educators. I think the educators are not stupid, they're just not been informed of a lot of up to date or relevant stuff, really.
It's all the system. The system's wrong, I think, but it's just solutions we can bring to the forefront almost. I think the only issue, obviously, I don't think everyone in the school should eat a carnivore diet.
No, 100%. Yeah.
But I feel like it would be put off by a lot of people not being scared of the meat, but a lot of people in today's age, don't eat meat. But I still think a more balanced diet in regards to getting some more healthier carbs in there, opposed to, I don't know, bread and pastries and stuff, because that's what we got: bread and pastries and grease. Do you know what I mean? And I think just getting some white rice, like put it simply, I don't think we actually could we get any white rice in our school, Ethan?
They did a chicken curry once a week.
Once a week, and it's like, why is that not more on the menu more? Why is there not more of that? And we just get shitty, greasy pastries and sausage rolls and stuff. I know why it is. It's because people want to eat them.
Yeah, it's also a lot cheaper to make, isn't it? Like they make all this random batch production, like all the cakes and stuff at the end. Just put some shitty icing on it, slice it up, and then they can serve it to the masses. Really, it's all the system. Like you can't blame the dinner lady. Cause obviously, she's just doing her job. You can't blame the school. They're just in the system, aren't they? But like it is just Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't say you definitely have to just go full carnivore, because I was thinking about this the other day, because I've been thinking a lot about dopamine, and I'm probably going to do a bit of research into that when I get a bit of free time. But like, obviously carbs, generate a larger dopamine response than having, a nice sugary taste that you're kind of
You get a sugar
craving.
rush,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, pretty much. And it's like, I was thinking, obviously, if you're trying to be primal, like maybe
Mm.
you wouldn't have that sort of sugar rush, but we're not living in a society today where we have the opportunity every single day to go and hunt, go and fight, go and train, go and do this. Other things get in the way. So we're living in a society where maybe carbs are beneficial. Like maybe you've been doing uni work all day, you've been stressed, you come back home looking like that because
Yeah.
you've just been at uni all day, you've been slugging out a dissertation, and maybe it's late, you are knackered, and you don't want to go to the gym. It's probably going to do more harm than good. Not eating all day, done fuck all, than going to the gym is probably just may as well wait till tomorrow to get in that. Get up early, go crack it, have a bit of
Mm.
carbs. Give yourself a little bit of something. You don't want to be ruined for these
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
social stuff that because essentially like uni as well, that's all social and stuff. Like people do that, like going out drinking, staying up late, or like dissertation and all that. Like, treat yourself. I'm not saying you can never treat yourself, but I now try and do it around stuff like that, like stressors, which realistically once upon a time were never a thing.
I fully agree. And personally, our personal experience, when I have a stressful experience in life, that's when I have sugary foods.
100%.
So for me, I'll eat a lot of rice, a lot of mince, and a lot of chicken. That's pretty much all I eat, and then I have 6 eggs in the morning. Right, that's pretty much my diet. And yeah, whenever I'm chilling, I'm doing my normal stuff. I'll keep on that diet. I'll never think, oh, I fancy chocolate, I fancy a cake, anything. The minute I've got an assignment coming up, and it's literally that night, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care what I eat. I need some sugar.
Yeah.
I'm having sugar. I'm having like soda, fizzy drinks. I'm having anything just to get that done. And when it's done, then I go back onto the diet. And I feel like that works for me personally. Gives me a bit of rush and a bit more energy, and just stims me up a little bit. But I feel like it's also a bit of a stress relief for me personally.
Yeah, I see it as stress relief. I think that's a perfect way to say it.
Yeah, and I think that's why I used to get fat, because I didn't have like the gym or like a mechanism to get my stress out. So I used to be stressed all the time. So what do? Eat all the time, and it's all shit.
Yeah.
So now that I've got like a way of getting the stress out and going for a run, going to the gym, I can focus on my diet a bit more, and it's a little bit more controlled rather than just fucking eat whatever because I fancy it, because I'm dealing with so much other shit, which I'm not, but I just don't know how to deal with it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But that's a big difference between people who are fat as kids and people who are skinny as kids. That's me anyway.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like I think even skinny kids, they just won't eat all day or something. But then maybe they've had a stressful day, and then they just have like a whole bag of Doritos or something in the evening. Like it's I think it's sad to say that. I mean, what percentage of the world do you reckon are just eating absolute crap their whole lives? I think it's quite sad. What the percent?
I reckon at least above 50, like maybe 70 odd, I'd say.
Whatever the percentage is, it's going to be a quite depressing stat, isn't it? Like, especially since we know diet causes a lot of illnesses, causes like mood and all this stuff. Like, it is going to be a sad percentage.
Yeah, and they're just not educated enough to realize it as well. I think people don't realize that they see it as separate entities. Like, obviously you have the whole stigma of treat your body like a temple. I get it, but like you kind of should you should treat your body with the most respect, because if you don't have a physically healthy body or healthy diet, how the fuck do you expect to be mentally healthy?
You only get one, don't you? You only get one body.
You only get one body, and you're a fucking animal at the end of the day. Don't think you're some higher being. You're a fucking animal. So if you don't feed your animal self, you're not going to be in an optimal state to be good in any realm, right?
100%.
There's plenty of quotes from billionaires saying, what's the most important thing? Health, diet. Don't drink water out the tap. Drink it out a can. Drink it out a glass. Don't put all the little bits of carbon in your system from it. Don't put microplastics in your system. All this shit.
Yeah.
There's people who can have anything.
Yeah. It is it is obviously easier when you are rich, but like at the same time you can make a difference, like even if you have like nothing, like you can make a difference. Or like, start changing something. You could bring this back around to politics really, because why are the people running the country not healthy themselves? Why are they telling us how to live our lives?
Seen the health minister, wasn't she massive?
Yeah,
we had like a massive health minister, didn't we?
Yeah, and then like you got love Bojo, but you know,
Role model.
but you know,
That's
is
half the
he?
viewers gone.
Is he really like, you know, fit to be telling people how to live, or like, you know, eat out to help out? I do understand they're trying to help businesses, but like, I don't know. Send during COVID, send everyone a fucking, don't tell them to stay indoors. Tell them all to start eating healthy, start working out, start getting sunlight. Like,
Yeah.
you know, all the healthy shit, basics that the government in every country, because it's not just this country that just said, yeah, go inside. You know, do something to be healthy. Don't just sit inside eating worse. Like, because a lot of people just put on so much weight during lockdown. Like, how? Yes,
Bro,
yes, you
I
didn't get
gained weight.
yeah,
I
like
gained
yes,
fucking
you didn't
weight.
get the virus, but you've become sedentary and you've been eating worse than ever with no sunlight 'cause you've been sat inside all day. Like, what sort of trade-off is that? You've not
Yeah.
got the virus, which isn't going to kill 50% of people anyway, and half the people that have been written down as dying from COVID, you know, they just had it when they died. It doesn't mean they died from it. They got hit by a car, but they had COVID. They were written down as death by COVID. You know, what is the trade-off? I don't know. Do you have anything to say? Do you want me to hand back over? No, I'm happy for you to. It feels weird looking at you sat next to me on the thing, but
Barnes is liking the spectator.
yeah.
Anyone not watching the video and just listening is going to be quite
It's
confused.
so confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree.
That whole eat out to help out thing made me so fucking angry.
What?
Because they pushed it onto uni students, then afterwards, oh, guys, you wouldn't believe it. Uni students, they're the ones spreading the virus. You
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's very hypocritical to everything that I've just said, but the only reason I'm annoyed about Heat Out to help out at the end of the day is because I actually didn't get to take advantage of it. I only went like once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to Five Guys and they weren't even doing it, so I had to spend like 20 quid on a burger. Yeah.
Feels
Yeah,
bad.
so it takes away everything that all the credibility from everything I just said. But you know, fuck Heat Out to help out.
Yeah, it's such a weird time thinking back to COVID for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I actually. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say that's like we could do a whole podcast on COVID.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, 100%. I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I actually got in some really good shape during COVID because me and my brother we have pull up and dip bars, so we got into just doing bodyweight stuff on that. I was eating very strict because for me, I do think being social is what makes me go off my diet. Because like,
I agree.
drinking, as soon as you've had a drink, you know, all thought about, yeah, I'm gonna go have my meal prep at 2 a.m. No, you're not. You can have a kebab, but like. Actually, I love a tub of kebab meat. That's still carnivore, so I do that. But like, you know, have a pizza or like something unhealthy after a night out, you know, that, or like order food that's like really horrible. That's, you know, it's not good. And that's a social thing. It's not like I'd just randomly be up at 2 a.m. by myself on an average Tuesday night, going to order some pizza. It's not going to happen. Or like I say, we go out for a coffee. I say I only do that socially. I'll have a coffee, but then maybe when we'll go to another coffee shop because we never go to just one. We end up going to like 5 coffee shops whenever we go. I'll end up having a little bit of cake in one of them, and it's a social thing. Like, because I would never just go and sit down and stare at some cakes and have a coffee by myself. I'd never do that sort of thing.
I'm completely the same. Whenever I'm with friends, it's like I remember when I went around Barnes's to watch the Super Bowl. So I went around yours, didn't I?
Yeah.
And we ordered the biggest takeaway. I maybe ate 7,000 calories that day, right? And I felt great. I felt great that day. But I would never have touched that many calories at all if I was just sat at home or doing my normal routine. It was just, I'm with my friends. I'll be all right. You're not stressing. You're just like, we'll have some food in. Got loads of biscuits. I was like, fuck it. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Just completely letting loose and doing whatever and just not feeling guilty about it. But the minute, if I was by myself, I'd be like, dude, I'm not eating that. Even if I bought it, I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah,
like
100%.
just because there's no fucking point. But
I just came up with the best name for the podcast episode.
What's that?
Sturgeon, spy balloons and steak.
Brilliant.
That is incredible.
Triple entendre.
Ethan just said he's going to name the podcast Sturgeon, Spy Balloons and Steak.
3 completely different topics. Couldn't be further from each other, but I love it.
Yeah, the alliteration makes it holds it together.
Yeah,
it really does.
Just very thinly.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'll hand over to you now, Barnes, because well, I've started cooking some bacon and it's gonna be what? Black. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant! That's honking.
I've got another 2 packets, lads. don't
Oh, okay,
worry.
we're good, we're good.
I prepared for this eventuality.
Perfect.
Cheers,
Well,
Jacob.
it's great having you on, mate. We'll get you on for another podcast
Yeah,
with
nice.
Dan, hopefully, because I
Yeah,
guarantee
nice.
Dan will listen to this and he'll be so jealous.
Nice. Yeah, no, I would love to be on another podcast properly, professionally. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh, beautiful. No worries at all.
I'll hand over back to resident bean Tom Barnes.
Enjoy your bacon.
Cheers, guys.
No
See you later.
worries. Right, boys. After that beautiful segue, I reckon we'll call it there for the pod today. So, what have you got to say to the people of the pod, Barnes?
Pick up the fork.
Drink some fucking water.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Alright, boys. We'll speak to you in a bit.
A bit.